long and amazing introduction out of the way here, Chef, which is one to be giddy about, which is exactly what I am. So honored and giddy to be here with the legendary chef, author, educator, artist, philanthropist, the first true celebrity chef. It's been 7 decades setting trends in the culinary world with some of his old friends named Craig Claiborne, James Beard, Mimi Sheridan, and Julia Child, to name a few. And then some other people that he knew and knows, Daniel Boulou, Tony Bourdain, Thomas Keller, just to name a few. So basically, absolutely everybody in the food world. 16 James Beard Awards, about 30 books, depending who you ask and how they're formatted. And let's not forget, in my Connecticut accent, the Legion of Honor in France.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And he was raised in Bourg-en-Bresse near Lyon, which just happens to have the best chicken in the world. And he, at the age of 13, enrolled in apprenticeship, which eventually led to cooking at the Plaza Athénée in Paris and working for 3 French heads of state. Coming to New York in 1959, he cooked at Le Pavillon and began collaborating with the New York Times. He brought amazing food to the monster company Howard Johnson, all while earning a master's degree at Columbia University. Wow. I'll let that sink in for a minute. May I present the man that loves bread and butter as much as I do, Chef Jacques Pépin. Welcome, Chef.
Thank you. Were you talking about me there?
Yeah, did I do you justice? I think I did, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you.
You're welcome. Pretty amazing, I must say. It's an honor to be here with you as a chef and a restaurant owner and just someone who has 43. I'm pretty sure I was in diapers when I saw you first, and it was pretty amazing to watch what you've accomplished. I have a bunch of questions. I have some stuff that I'm going to start with first, which I'm curious about. The happy cooking that you happen to say at the end of every show and every podcast that I've seen. Where did that come from? Why is it so important, Chef, that everybody's cooking happy?
I don't know if it's important, but one of the first series that I did at KQED, the PBS station in San Francisco, where I have done many series. Oh, and even prior to that, 1981, I think, I did something at in Jacksonville, Florida, a series, and somehow I don't know, it came out at the end of the show. I said, well, I hope you're happy to cook with me. Happy cooking and so forth. So, and it stayed with me, and then I more or less say happy cooking. So I don't think there is anything very special there, but it's okay, kind of trademark, I guess.
Definitely. I'd say, you got to cook from your heart, right? Otherwise, be happy doing what you're doing. So a lot of comments came in before here. One, that whole list is very, shall we say, amazing for someone in the food business, but those that aren't in the food business relate to you mostly, cooking with Julia and sitting home on Saturday afternoons and watching you on TV. And that was a comment that we got tonight, the memories that will always be there. It's your book hit right at the right time. And we have questions here. Thank you for being tonight. Advice for those of us who are cooking more than ever and trying to be creative and engaged in our cooking at home. What would you say to those folks?
Well, happiness is in the kitchen. And if you can get together with your family and cook together, and the cooking itself, bring to the eating. So you sit down around the table and you start having a conversation. And that's very important. I remember, I think a couple of years ago, I was looking at television. There was a young couple, in their 20s and all that, and they had 2 kids. And the woman said, rain or shine now, we have decided that we are going to cook and eat together once a week. And it was like a big deal. I said, wow, what happened with the other 6 days? But it is true, that, when Claudine, my daughter, she's in her 50s now, she was 2-3 years old I hold her in my arm and I made her stir the pot. And I'm cooking. So she, quote, ate it because she made it with Papa, you know, she made it. So, because she, and like I have a granddaughter now, Shori. And then when she was 3, 4 years old, you know, she came to my house. She sit on a stool. She's taller than me now, but she went on a stool next to me, and I would take her to the garden. I said, "Okay, get me some parsley." No, that's chive. No, that's parsley. Just taste it. That's tarragon. No. You know, and then she brought it back into the kitchen, and I said, "Okay, give me a spoon, give me a bowl, help me put that. Can you wash the salad for me too?" So we cooked together, and it, you know, it break down life. It kind of a canvas for me to which I can discuss with her and talk about what she does, and eventually cooking together like this. Then I take her to the market. I say, "Get me some pear. Make sure they're ripe. Did you smell them? Do you think they're ripe? Those tomatoes are ripe?" And you know, that's important. It come back and we get together, then we cook together, and when we sit down and when we start talking together, and one conversation lead to the other, what she does in school, what's going on and all that. In fact, I'm very happy with her. She's 16 years old and she just had her first shot because first vaccination, because she worked on a retirement home. She volunteered in a retirement home, old people, so she was priority, so they gave her their first shot. So I'm very proud of her. Yeah.
That's great. 16. Wow. So, you know, some of us aren't fortunate enough to have Jacques Pépin as our grandpa. So, you know, what would you say to those novice cooks out there, or those parents that are trying to teach their kids and their novice cooks how to jump into the kitchen and get interested?
There is absolutely no question. The kitchen, maybe the most comfortable, the safer, the happiest part of the house. And I remember as a little kid, and when if you can go back home and you do your homework in the kitchen there, when your mother or your father is cooking, and you can smell what's going on, you can hear what's going on, you can hear the cling of the instruments and all that. And you know, those the remembering of that, the taste of the food and all that, that will stay with you the rest of your life. That's a very visceral, you know, very powerful thing that you have when you have a child. And that, even me, you know, I'm 85 years old, an old chef. I've worked and I've eaten in the greatest restaurant in the world. Well, you know what I remember mostly is those visceral tastes of when you were a kid. This is the chicken my mother used to do, or this or that. So those tastes of you, whether you come from China or Indochina or West Africa or somewhere else, or Turkey, those tastes that you had as a child and all that with your family remain with you for the rest of your life. So that's very important to get the kid involved in that.
Absolutely. So you remember those, obviously it's like deja vu. Do you, all of a sudden you smell something in the kitchen and it brings you back to some specific time?
Oh, absolutely, yes. This is, I talk about Marcel Proust, you know, with a French writer, Remembering a Thing Past. He wrote that book. And he's talking about the affective memory, that is the memory of the senses, as opposed to the memory of the intellect. You know, the memory of the intellect, you say, where were you in 98? So your brain may go to try to find the affective memory, the memory of the senses has to do with the smell, the eyesight, the taste, the view, all of the touch and all that. So I'm walking in the wood with my doggy here and I'm looking for mushroom, or I'm not talking about anything at all. And all of a sudden I smell mushroom, and right away, that smell bring me back when I was 10, 12 years old, walking the wood with my father and my brother, picking up mushroom. So those affective memory, or the memory of the senses, are very, very immediate, very powerful. You know, they assail you, attack you when you least expect it. You know, you're somewhere and all of a sudden you smell that, and that, so it's a very immediate type, a very powerful thing, those memories. So yeah, the memory of the senses, certainly for a cook, a food writer, a critic, those memories are extremely important,
Absolutely. That's, those memories is how you come up with new dishes or rearrange dishes in your head. I know I do that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
What, speaking of memorable meals and eating all over the world, what would you say, or what would you seek out and go back to as your, well, I mean, I can imagine how many meals you've had like that, but just a few. Give me an idea.
Well, the food is great, but whoever you share the food with is even more important, So I have eaten, I can talk about meal I had at Percé or Bocuse in Lyon or Daniel in New York, some of the greatest meal. But I still go back to probably meal that I had with my mother or my wife or my daughter or friend. That goes back something more powerful than the food itself. Of course, the food is good, but there is much more than the food. It's the whole, civilization for me is expressed maybe by the practice of the table. I mean, the setting up of a table, the whole mechanic of the table, the whole thing that you go through, setting up the table and the food and all that too, that whole etiquette and thing that you go through, maybe the best example of what civilization is, in many, many ways. There is a famous French philosopher who said that that cooking is the process by which you transform nature into culture. And it's true. I mean, if you think 2,000-3,000 years ago, our whole ancestor would cook and all that, but the process of cooking and organizing it and the etiquette of the table and bringing all of that together, that's what brings that nature into culture. And certainly, you would see in the 18th century in France, the King of France would, when one of the greatest cooks in France, whether he said, I need, for the Congress of Vienna in 1814, I believe, or whatever, and Carême told Louis XVIII, I think Louis XVIII told him, you need more advisor for that. He was going there he said, no, I need more cook to go there, to set up a big table, to invite people that's where the deal are done, around the table, around this. The table is a great, great equalizer. You're sitting down at the table, you're invited. Maybe you're next to the, to the senator of some state, and next to you on the other side is the dishwasher from the restaurant next door. It really doesn't make any difference. You have eight people around the table is the equalizer. You sit there, and at the table you start conversation, start discussion and all that. So the table is very important. The cooking is important, but of course, the whole ultimate goal is to have the table and to bring people together and to talk and and we need that now more than ever. Yeah.
Just about to say that, now more than ever.
Yeah.
So switching gears on that, I mean, you being hospitable and you being with, Julia Child, one of your dear friends for so many years, there's so many questions about Julia here. I just want you to, expand on that a little bit, and just, your relationship. Did you fight a little bit? Was there love? I mean, give us a little scoop.
Yeah. No, we fought all the time. I met Julia in 1960. So I came here in 1959. So I met her 6 months after I was here. 6 months after I was here, I knew the trinity of cooking in America, which was James Beard, Julia Child, and Craig Claiborne. I'm saying to you that only to show you how very, very small the food world was at that time, And I met Julia in New York. She was finishing writing, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. And she sent it to a friend of mine, Helen McCauley. Helen McCauley was the food editor of McCall, How Beautiful. So she received that manuscript to review the book. And I had met her too. So she said, Jacques, I want you to look at this. So I look at that manuscript. I said, "Ooh, this is really good. I wish I would have done that thing." And she said, "Well, the woman who wrote it lives in Boston. She's coming next week. So let's cook for her." I said, "Okay." So I cook. And I remember Julia came and we spoke French, actually. Her French was better than the English. At the time, she just came back, spending a couple of years in France, and I had been only a few months. So that's how we met, and we became friends, and it went on for basically half a century, and we did those shows together, and we had a great time doing the show together. She loved being on PBS as I do. We don't have to cow to any sponsor. In fact, you cannot even endorse a product because of PBS. So yes, we had a great time doing that type of thing. And Julia was very big on that. I remember when we did a series that we did, Jacques and Julia Cooking at Home. My friend just gave me more wine. Thank you very much.
We didn't even see that in the camera.
Yeah.
That was sneaky.
So it was Jess Jackson, the Candle Jackson company was one of the sponsors. And I became very friends with him and his wife, Barbara Banke, who were terrific. And they were on the West Coast, and they said, we were taping those shows at Julia Child's house in Boston. And she said, can we come and look at one of the shows? I say, absolutely. I said, we will take you out for dinner. I said, absolutely. So they flew in, and they are in the living room, whatever, we're at the control room, we're doing the show there. And it's not like we didn't drink wine. I mean, we started the show and we opened a bottle of wine and we drank some. And with the Candle Jackson, we're very, very generous. They had like 30 winery, but Jess Jackson told me, you can use French wine, Italian wine, you can use anything you want, it's fine with me. No, so it was very, very nice. So we drank some wine and we kept cooking, and I forget exactly what the main course was, but at the end of it, because the producer, of course, told me, Jess Jackson is there, what kind of wine are you going to serve? I said, we serve all kind of wine all the time. So we finish anyway, whatever I cooked, and I tell Julia, okay, so what do you want? You want a little Merlot or maybe a Cabernet with a roast or whatever I did? She said, I want some beer. You want beer? I mean, we have the biggest, I say, we don't have beer. She said, we have beer. She had beer underneath.
So one of the questions was, I have, was Julia as funny as she seemed? And obviously she was by that story. So.
Yeah, she was. And she, she was, a lot of people would ask me, how was Julia in real life? In real life, she was exactly the way you saw her on television. There was no difference.
I think chefs in real life are just true bald bus choppers. It's just the way it is.
Right.
The way the kitchen. I had the honor actually of I was a young cook. I cooked for you two at a mansion in Hartford. It was a fundraiser for PBS, and it's still an amazing with Todd English. It's still a.
No kidding, Todd. Todd was really a great chef.
Unbelievable. I learned so much
from him. I haven't heard of him in a while, in a long time.
He's more West Coast now, but definitely out there. We wrapped a leg of lamb for you in clay, and we baked it in clay.
Oh.
And you and Julia came in the kitchen and cracked it after you signed it.
Oh, I think I kind of remember that.
So me as a young chef, I was there like this, amazed. Crazy.
Oh boy.
So many years. Anyway, moving on.
I would say that the clay was pretty tough.
You did it though. Julia cracked it. She made it through. Talk about the book, Quick and Simple. I mean, you've written 30 books from Le Technique, which is, probably a book that I pretty much learned from, versus Quick and Simple now. I mean, those are two opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah. So perfect timing. What's your go-to recipe out of Quick and Simple?
Well, I tell you, I started that book before the pandemic anyway. We just happened to coincide with what we do now. We came back from, usually we spent a couple of months in Florida during the winter, that we did. And last year, my wife and I came back the beginning of March, and it was a pandemic, and I haven't moved from here since. But basically, my daughter at that point asked me, could you do some show on Facebook of like 3, 4, 5-minute show to show people how to cook? And this is what I did. And I did about 150 of those shows that my friend Tom here with the taped and all that. We shot the two of us in the kitchen. He's taping and I'm cooking, doing the dishes, and that's it. So those are very simple recipes. Some of them are in that book as well. And I just wanted to make the life of people easier and all that. I did several books this way. I did two series on the PBS called Fast Food My Way. And basically, as you know, in a professional kitchen, you have a prep cook. The prep cook come in the morning, he bone out the chicken, he slice the mushroom, he chop the parsley, he bone out the fish, chop the shallots and so forth. All of that is there. For me, I come to the stove and someone order a piece of fish. I grab that piece of fish, it's all done, a bit of shallot, a bit of sliced mushroom on top, dash of wine, bring it to a boil it 3-4 minutes, remove it, finish it with a bit of butter, cream. I have a dish. I have done it in 6 minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes, because I have the mise en place. That is, the prep is all there. So in those shows that I did Fast Food My Way, I use the supermarket as a prep cook. I can go to the supermarket, I get skinless, boneless breast of chicken, a pre-sliced mushroom, a pre-washed spinach. I get a non-stick pan, I put that together. And when I did those shows are 30 minutes, I used to get the package from the supermarket. And I would do like 3 dish, 4 dish sometime in the 30 minutes of the show, if you have all of that preparation. So that's the idea of, it's not the easiest, it's not the least expensive way of cooking, because sometimes it's more expensive to buy the food this way. It's more expensive to buy all of the chicken bone out and all that than buying a whole chicken and doing it yourself. But on the other hand, makes your life much easier for people. And that's basically what I try to do,
So those Facebook videos for the foundation are truly that simple that you make them look, which is pretty amazing, and I think that people should know that out there, everybody watching, the Instagram, Facebook videos for the Jacques Pépin Foundation are really that easy. He makes it look that easy. He's been cooking for.
No, but it is easy. And the foundation actually, was created by my son-in-law, my daughter Claudine. My son-in-law, Rolly Wizen, is teach cooking at Johnson and Well in Rhode Island. So he's been a chef for 30 years, and but he's a very, very good teacher, and he's the one who created the foundation much more than I did. And he's using all of my tape. For 35 years, I've been on PBS, so I've done hundreds of show of techniques, show of this, that, too. So he's using all that material and different type of book to try to teach people who have been a bit disenfranchised in life, people coming out of jail, former drug addict, homeless people, a lot of people like this that we deal with, and we deal with them through the community kitchen throughout all over the country, basically, 100 different ones. You have area like in Seattle, I was there a while ago, Fresh Start there, an organization. I mean, they go in the street, pick up the people in the street, homeless people, give them something to wear, put them in a room. The day after, they put them in a kitchen and do. And, it doesn't work 100% of the time, but you'll be surprised, like 80-85% of the time, those people are in the kitchen 2-3 years later. And,
I believe it.
They are happy with themselves. They are, they can redo their life and all that. So this is not to teach cooking to young people who want to go work at Daniel in New York or Jean-Georges or whatever. But it's for people in their 40s, even 50, 30, 40, 50, who want to learn the basic of cooking, kind of redo your life and open a little restaurant here, there, and so forth. So, I mean, the foundation has done very, very well this way, thanks to my son-in-law, really.
Yes, congrats on that. And we need as many cooks as possible, trust me. Again, a lot of questions. So we're going to do a little speed round here of your favorites, if you don't mind. Quick answers. What is your go-to when you're in need of some comfort food? Asked Sarah L.
Wine.
What is Jacques Pépin's signature dish?
Signature dish, bread and butter. This is
Ah,
the
good
best thing
man.
you can have.
Good man. Especially old bread too, right? You stick it in the
Oh, yeah,
toaster.
yeah, oh yes. If you have the greatest bread, baguette, and the great butter, it's hard to beat bread and butter, I tell you.
Too good. That's why I look like I look. Your favorite meal to cook and serve to guests?
Whatever they like to eat. I mean, when you invite guests to your house, it's not to please yourself, it's to please them. So, like when I was a kid, my mother would have a steak. My mother would have a steak. She put the steak in the skillet, turn it upside down, 20 seconds one side, 20 seconds the other side. The steak is totally raw inside, cold inside. She liked her steak this way. My father liked his steak well done. So basically, if you cook for someone, you try to find out the way they like it, because you don't cook for yourself. If I'm in a restaurant, someone asks for a rack of lamb, I will do it medium rare, just saignant, because that's how I like it. But if someone wants it well done or very, very, I will do it the way they want. They pay for it and all that. So if you want to please people, you try to do what they like to eat, not what you like to eat.
I'd have a hard time calling you up and saying I wanted to eat this when I came over to your house. Your favorite vegetable?
Onion.
What's the dinner you make for yourself the most often?
Soup and salad. I mean, I'm getting older and older, especially I do what my wife used to call fridge soup. I open the refrigerator, whatever is there, half an onion, a piece of carrot, this, that, too. I put together with a bit of stock, cook it 15 minutes, finish it with a handful of pasta or couscous or whatever, and I have a soup. Yeah.
And you're quite the egg master too, right? Is eggs for breakfast
Oh, yeah.
every morning?
Egg would be very big for me, whether it's a hard cooked eggs or an omelette or a poached egg or whatever. Yes.
So there's questions in here about novice cooks. What would you suggest the mastery? Would egg cooking be the first thing that you would push a cook to?
Not really, depending the way you feel. A lot of people tell me I don't cook. What do you think I should do? I said, well, do you have any friend who cook? And they already have a friend who cook. I said, okay, next time you go to your friend, say, can I come an hour ahead and cook with you? So you come an hour ahead, you bring a bottle of wine, you drink the bottle of wine, and even if the chicken is a bit burned, who cares after that? So
because you're already 2 bottles in, hopefully, right? What is the easiest dessert to make?
Dinner dessert to make, it's going to be fruit for me all the time. If I have fruit which are fresh and which are ripe, I cut it and usually put a couple of tablespoons of like apricot jam with it, maybe a dash of cognac on top of this. If I have a tablespoon of sour cream on top of it, a piece of pound cake, the best dessert I ever had.
Sounds good to me. I love your pears, right? You do so much with pastry, pears wrapped in pastry, et cetera, et cetera. They're so easy and delicious. What is your favorite meatless soup to make on cold winter days? I'm assuming that would be fridge soup, right?
Fridge soup, but otherwise it's going to be leek. Usually I love leek, leek and water, if it has to be, and just finish it with vermicelli, the thin pasta and all that. It's done in 10 minutes and it's always satisfying, so.
Excellent. Some local Connecticut questions, if you don't mind. One is why you chose Connecticut.
Well, it's a long story, but it's an arbitrary kind of decision. I used to live upstate New York in the Catskill. I used to be a ski instructor a weekend there, did a lot of skiing. Then I had very bad accident. I had 12 fracture in car accident, broke my back too fine. So we moved back from there, and I said, well, I want to be close to the water, to the ocean, but I want to be pretty close to New York to be able to go to New York. So it was either the coast of Connecticut or the coast of Jersey, and we came to Connecticut. We loved it, came here, and we moved here in 1976 in the house that I'm here now, who used to be a brick factory in the 20s or 30s. So we've redone it like several times. So.
I've heard you have redone it personally.
Yes, I used to do sheetrock, the floor, quarry tile. Certainly, I do granite and
Cement,
all the cement and all that.
masonry.
I do that masonry. Yeah, no, I work with my hand. Yes, so I have done a lot of that. Yes. Yeah.
Along with all of your art. There's a Fairfield resident down here, Chef Michel Nichon, who happens to be a mutual friend of ours, who told me that he actually called you a savant today, saying that anything that you do with your hands turns into a work of art.
Yeah, Michel is fantastic. He's a great guy. He's almost as nice as his wife, Laurie.
True.
But don't tell him. So.
I would never.
No, Michel is a good friend. He's not too good at playing bull. We play pétanque, which is the bull game, and he's okay. He's not that great. I think his wife is better than he is, but occasionally he's pretty good.
I heard you're turning pro. Is that true?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, pro. As long as we have those parties over the weekend, like 30, 40, 50 of us, and we drink between 70, 75 bottles of wine. So yeah, at that time you become professional in no time at all.
After 4 bottles, you're professional at all. So keeping it moving a little bit about your fantastic art, JacquesPépinArt.com. I saw some fantastic menus. You are quite the artiste, especially when it comes to chickens. Is that because you were born in breasts? I don't see any bluefoot chicken.
That's true. Probably it. Actually, the art side is done by my friend, Tom, and Tom Hopkins. He's a professional photographer, but he's been my photographer for 35 years. Many books, starting with Everyday Cooking with Jacques Pépin. So, and all of those, and in addition, taking video, and he handled my hard side. I would never have done a hard side, but he's doing it now, selling original painting as well as a lot of giclée, production. In fact, we're having a show at the museum, the Stanford Museum, at the end of the year. It was supposed to be at the end of April, but I think it's been pushed back now to October or November. So,
excellent. Well, you have most of Fairfield County on the line here tonight. Would you like to share some of your favorite Madison sort of mystic restaurants that we should come up there and visit?
I don't really like to come, but I mean, certainly in Madison, I have Bar Boucher, which is a tiny French restaurant, which is really nice. I have Taste of China in Clinton, Chinese restaurant, which is really good. Of course, Union League Cafe in New Haven. In Brantford, the cafe, Le Petit Café in Brantford. That's a great restaurant.
Anything towards Fairfield County that you like?
Italian food. We go to Al Forno in Westbrook, so forth. James Raymond. Oh, and then the Oyster Bar, of course. The Oyster Bar in Mystic and all that. That's really terrific.
Dan Miser. Those are good guys up there doing great things.
Fantastic. Yes.
Good oysters, good mussels and clams. Are you out there still fishing for those?
Oh, yeah. In fact, you know what? I have a friend of mine who just brought me a dozen of oysters. He picked up today in Madison, and it's on my menu tomorrow. Yeah.
Are you opening them in the microwave?
No, I show them how to open the microwave. The people don't know how to do it to help, but for me, no.
I saw that.
Yeah.
There's always one though. There's always one.
Yeah.
Some pantry questions. What normally is in your fridge? People would like to know the most important things to have in their kitchen.
Yeah. In my refrigerator, from beer to onion, from beer to onion to leek to carrot to you name it, and even truffle. And because I put the truffle next to the beer, and So if people tell me, do you have a beer? I say, yes, next to the truffle in the refrigerator. So that sounds good, right? When
Makes you
say
sound
that.
fancy.
Yeah,
Very.
right. I'm a real snob, you see.
I saw a bottle of truffle oil in some of those videos. Are you pro truffle oil on eggs
Okay,
only? What's that?
if it's good, I'm pro everything, which if it's good. Yeah. So
What else do we have here? And new technology. So I was listening to something that you actually, during your time at Howard Johnson's, they introduced you to this giant microwave, right? So now we have these little microwaves, and now we have these little thing called air fryers. Is that something that you've played with yet?
air fried?
Air fryers, yes.
Oh, air fryer. No, I haven't used that. No, I saw it somewhere, but I think at 85, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm not going to. I mean, at Howard Johnson, yes, at Howard Johnson, when we came, it was 1960. In the test kitchen, the guy brought me what he called a radar range. Radar range was enormous with a very tiny door, and you open it, and he explained to me that the food worked through the microwave system, whatever it was, different type of thing. I said, okay. And he said, he put it in there, and he said, you have to watch out because there is some leak around the door. And but he said, I'm going to check. He had like 5 watt long little
like bulbs.
A bulb, long like that too. And he put it there, and if it leak around the table, it light up the light in his hand. I say, I'm just saying in front of that machine ever again. So that was the beginning of the microwave, which was, and then of course, now we use microwave oven, all kind of thing. I mean,
Sure.
I still use pressure cooker and things like that. And of course, the sous vide now is big. I don't do that much at home, a little bit. I love to do eggs this way. You put your eggs in like 150 degree.
Oh, it's perfect.
For 1 hour. You break it, you open it, it falls off the whole egg white and egg yolk is almost the same texture and all that. It's amazing, so.
Yeah, the yolk is like eating custard. It's so delicious.
Exactly, yeah.
Couple more Howard Johnson questions, because there was actually a Howard Johnson's down in Darien here. Your favorite dish that you ever created for Howard Johnson?
Well, we created dishes, from beef burgundy to seafood, Newburgh, and many, many things. But a lot of things that we redid was from the fried clams and maybe things, the clam chowder and all that, because we use fresh butter. It came in those enormous 60-pound of block butter. Before that, they had margarine. We use fresh butter with the dehydrated onion. We remove all of that. It was with Pierre Freinet, was the executive chef at the Pavilion, and others. So fresh onion, fresh everything. And Mr. Johnson, the whole Mr. Johnson, the one who created the company, was an extraordinary man. He came to my wedding. He came to the christening of my daughter, Claudine. I remember I picked him up. He came to East Hampton at Craig Lebon there, and I picked him up once. And Craig said, you have to pick, he had his own boat in Sag Harbor, and I go pick him up. And he was waiting for me outside, sitting on a case of Dom Perignon champagne. He said, okay, put that in the car. He was a great man, Johnson. So, and christening, as I say, of my daughter too. I am often considered maybe the quintessential French chef, but I opened the World Trade Center with Joe Baum. When I left Howard Johnson, I opened a restaurant on Fifth Avenue in New York called La Potagerie, between 45 and 46th Street, mass production of soup, but I ended up being on What's My Line, To Tell the Truth, all those shows because of that restaurant. And then I opened the World Trade Center with Joe Baum. Then I was a consultant at the Russian Tea Room in the 80s. I'm saying all of that to say that I would never have been able, as a French chef, with what I knew, to do any of this if I hadn't had the training of Howard Johnson in terms of mass production and stuff and other ideas and so forth. So Howard Johnson was very very important in my life. You know, it was another world, but it was very important. And even in terms of organizing recipe, I never had cookbook before I went to Howard Johnson. And there, you know, I had to set up, and I was director of research,
Systems.
development, setting up recipe and organizing it and so forth. So yes, I learned a great deal, you know. That was
American chef with a Connecticut accent now.
exactly.
What happens? Um, you've cooked with a lot of great chefs. You've
Yes.
seen a lot. What who would you like to hang in the kitchen with now? Professional chefs. I know your family's one answer. I
I
want
know, I
I want the
know,
chefs.
I know. Okay, well, my friend Jean-Claude, who I work with when I work for the French president in France. So that's where we met. So that was 1956, 57, whatever. So still my professional chef, and because I feel so comfortable with him. I mean, ultimately in the kitchen, you know, you have to feel comfortable with your French chef. So I have my friend here, you know, Jean-Pierre Villermet was Le Petit Café too. So people like this, you feel comfortable with. And of course, my son-in-law and my daughter, I can push her around and say, don't do that, do this, do that. Yeah. So, yes. So yeah, you have, you know, I used to do a lot of television show and sometimes they invite someone and you're very happy that person is going to come as a professional chef, but you don't want to embarrass them. They don't want to embarrass you. So they don't want to tell you exactly, I wouldn't do that this way, or you the same way. So if you really want to feel very comfortable in cooking, then you have to cook with real friends that you know, they shop the parsley, you steal it from them to use it for you, or you do this, or you do that, or you push them around, they push you around. Yeah, you have to be very comfortable in the kitchen to do good with your French chef, you know.
Absolutely. So I'm reading some questions that are coming in now. Someone wants to know what you disliked about Julia Child.
Dislike, I see the first time I was asked that thing where you know, Julia and I had argument all the time, but it was really nothing. I mean, she like white peppercorn, you know, I like black pepper. And I'm like, oh, you know, we argue, but that amount to nothing at all. We agree on what's important, the quality of the ingredients, simplicity of recipe, and all that. And I learned from her. You know, she told me, you're too serious. You know, this is television. You know, you got to be more smiling to. And she was absolutely right. However, at the end of any show, she said, what did people learn today? What did we? So there was still the teaching part of it, which was very important. So Julia was a good friend. So
Do you think she pulled that personality out of you and softened you up?
probably, yeah. I mean, you always, you know, if you want to keep an open mind, you always learn with whoever you are with. I mean, I could cook with anyone and I would learn something. Sometimes you learn what not to do, but you learn something.
Someone, very true. Someone would love to know if you have an opinion about New Haven pizza.
Well, Sally and Pepe, I mean, the greatest pizza in the world. Actually, we had some tonight before we saw you, but it didn't come from
Really?
there. It came from a place in Madison. But actually, it was very good. But Pepe's pizza, the pizza, especially with the clam pizza was really good. Yeah.
You don't throw modern in the mix or Zupardi's or
No.
next time.
No.
Uh, let's see. Did you ever cook with James Beard?
Oh yes, many times.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Was that
Actually, I knew James Beard. I think I knew him even before I knew Julia, so in New York. So I cooked with him, and he used to have a house, not the last house he had, but the one before on 13th Street between 7 and 6, I believe. And I used to go there, and James Beard was always broke. Whatever he did, he always spent more money than he had. So he was, and so I called him. I went out for dinner with him many times. And then at that time, it was in the late 60s, early 70s, he asked, people asked me if I could give class in New York. I had a couple of groups coming from California. So I didn't have a spot. I called Jim. I said, can I use your kitchen? He said, absolutely. So he would have a group of people for like a week, like 10, 12 people coming from the West Coast. He wasn't supposed to be there, but of course he would come down and be with us and taste the food and start evaluating. So I love Jim. He was great. He was totally different than Julia in many ways, but certainly he loves food and he loves to eat and so forth.
Amazing. So Jacques Pépin in the future. I mean, you still have a good 20, 25 years left on you. What
sure, yeah, 25 months.
what do you see yourself doing? Painting, a third career maybe?
More of the same, you know. We are talking about doing a book of chicken, my drawing of chicken, with some history about chicken and all that. We're working on it. I have a very good, well, Tom is doing all that type of work. And Kelsey, my assistant, is doing the rest of it. So I don't really do much. You know, I let them work. You know, so.
You're just you're the inspiration, of course.
Right, right.
Well, excellent. Anything else that we should ask you? There's a few other people that have crossed paths. I'm not sure if you remember the name Peter Pratt from Yorktown.
Oh, yes, yes. Hi, Peter. How are you?
There's actually someone reminding that you, I guess you cooked with his father way back when.
Yes.
Someone asking about Craig Claiborne and, you know, your relationship with him, pretty much the same as James Beard, an early welcomer to you, right?
I have to say that out of Julia Child and James Beard, Craig were the biggest influence in my life. I knew him when he started at the New York Times, and I started going to his house in East Hampton. I spent a weekend there. Craig, Pierre Frenet had a house next door that they did together. And Craig was very, very important in my life. I mean, he changed my idea. I mean, in France, you would have people coming for the weekend. And by the time they leave, you're totally exhausted because you're there to make lunch and make sure to do this, that, too. I learned with Craig to go to his house, and everyone did whatever you want. Then we went to the market. He put food on the table. You do your own sandwich for lunch, did that too. And then we all go to the market. We start cooking for dinner, start drinking, cooking. So the most relaxed, the best way of being. In fact, he did my wedding too. That's where I did my wedding. Craig, he said, okay, all the chefs were cooking, including me, like an hour before our wedding. And Pierre told me, you got to go change, you're getting married. So it was that type of thing. So I learned a great deal about that kind of very American type of attitude toward food, relaxed and all that too from Craig. So Craig, yes, was probably the most important, the greatest influence in my life out of all of those people at the time, yes.
Do you think you would have, were you going to head to become a food critic? You think they would have ever brought you into that side?
Actually, you know what? When Craig left the New York Times, not too long after, I was asked by some people at the New York Times whether I'd be interested in the job. And I thought about it. It's a very prestigious, fantastic job. And I thought, I cannot do that. I mean, I go to Lutèce and tell André Saltner, everything is fantastic, except there is too much noise upstairs. He will never forgive me. Only that thing. What do you think? Or whatever, for a little thing. So I say, I cannot do that. My critic is not really the thing that I enjoy doing, you know. So, however, I went to many restaurants with Craig when he was reviewing for the New York Times, and I frankly would never have done better than what he did. He was very fair and open to that type of thing. So he was really great. He was a great food critic, and a good writer too.
Amazing. So I know we only have a couple minutes left, so a couple more questions. You know, really about ingredients and what you think, you know, what the next vegetable craze is. Put it that way. What do you think is coming down the pipe?
I never look at that type of craze. You know, what you have to go back to seasonal ingredient. Because frankly, when I have a tomato out of my garden, when it's really ripe, I tell you, a bit of salt on top, a dash of olive oil. I don't need any embellishment, you know. So, and certainly on a young chef, I probably, like many young chefs, put too much on the plate. You keep adding, adding, adding. As you get older, as I am now, you take away, to be left with the essential ingredient there. But basically, you know, if you in full summer, you know, in full spring or whatever, you get cherries at the time, or you get, you know, asparagus or whatever in the full season. This is the time when the taste is going to be the best. This is the time when nutritionally it's going to be the best. And more, maybe more important, this is the time when it's going to be the cheapest. So this is when you buy your ingredient with the cheapest, the best in terms of taste, the best nutritionally. Follow the season, you know, as much as you can. Yeah, no question about it.
Absolutely. That's how you get the most of your money, right? Most of your money, the most flavor.
Of course. I mean, I have tomato in my garden. At the end of the summer, I don't know what to do with it. I go to the market, I have like a whole basket of tomato in a farm next door for like $6, you know, because that's the full summer. So then that's when I freeze it or do things with it. But
all right, I'm looking for I guess every part of things. Yes. Just trying to find that last good question. Do you have anything else, Chef, that you would love to tell the audience of 500 people right now while I look for one more question?
well, what I have to tell people is that you be, especially in our time during the pandemic and all that, it's the time to get together and to you know, to cook together, certainly, to be together, to eat together, and especially to talk together. It's very important to talk because in our era of polarization, you know, you have to talk, you have to discuss, you have to argue, you have to do that. And food is just about the best medium to bring that together, whether you cook together or whether you share the food together. Even if you don't cook together, go buy a pizza, but sit around the table, share a bottle of wine and argue and kiss and go to bed.
Drink wine. Well, Chef, thank you very much. I know from all of us on our end, we know we had to reschedule this. Our sincere condolences for Gloria, and we love you very much. We think you're fantastic. We hope you keep doing what you do for many more years, and we can't wait to hang with you. Come down to Fairfield County. We'd love to cook with you and throw a party.
I'll drink to that. Thank you. And happy cooking to all of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Chef Jacques Pépin and Chef Matt Storch, for enlightening our taste buds in a way that I couldn't have even imagined. The two of you really brought it out tonight. So thank you so much for that. A special shout out to my colleague and tech guru, Fairfield Woods branch manager, Nancy Sweeney, who assisted us this evening. As I mentioned in the beginning, we have a special offer for you. Chef Pépin has generously offered to send some signed book plates to Fairfield University Bookstore. They will be arriving in a few days. You might want to call them before stopping in to purchase your copy of the cookbook. And also a little shout out coming up next in our What's Cooking series is the Tasty Yolk on Monday, February 22nd, followed by Catch a Healthy Habit on Monday, March 22nd.
My sister.
That's right. Lisa Storch is the owner of Catch a Healthy Habit. And do you want to say anything about the Food Network and the Chopped event?
Oh, she's fantastic. We loved it. She beat me on Beat Bobby Flay, so you got to check her out. She took me down. Brother versus sister.
Yeah.
So again, as always, please visit our website at fairfieldpubliclibrary.org for all event registrations. We look forward to seeing all of you soon. Be well. Take good care.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Bye, chef's team.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
Tom. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Uh,